So, Joel, great to see you, buddy. So, let's have a good little look here. So, good news is your hip rotation in the backswing is tremendously better. We're going to see that through iron swings and driver swing. There's a lot less of that bump away. It's looking in a good spot. So, for hitting the ball, of course, in the misses you described on camera, absolutely, the hip rotation, not causing it whatsoever from here. So that's where absolutely you're getting some better golf, but we see two things in the swing. One that we did talk about from last lesson, which is related to that right arm, but now it's more just manifesting in the downswing. When you improve in areas, get the root causes sorted out and improved, you'll see quite often with swing faults, them have kind of like a phasing out type of period of where there'll be, let's say, areas in, let's say, before in the golf swing where they'll be fixed from the root cause, and then from, let's say, in that before swing there will still be remnants of it in that later portion, and that will still be there after the root cause is sorted out. So all we've really got to do is tweak up two little areas and you're going to be striking it a lot better. So okay, let's dive into it. So setup looks really good here. Now let's get into it. So I'm just going to draw a line going straight through the middle of your pelvis area, and let's have a look just from here to start off with. So we can see as we're coming back, that is much better. So we can see the hips are turning, still getting the left heel lift, which, like we said, is good if you're getting the turn alongside with that. That is absolutely brilliant. Now, reverse pivot is something that a lot of golfers quite often misdiagnose for themselves and have disastrous consequences from the misdiagnosis because they'll start to work on it when it wasn't a problem in the first place. So, reverse pivot is when the lower body moves away from the target and the upper body moves towards the target. So, what we can see here quite often when the upper body and lower body is on top of each other, which it should be, times golfers can misdiagnose that as a reverse pivot, but we can see here, if we look at where that left shoulder is, see how it's pretty much directly on top of the middle of your lower body. So you're absolutely fine in regards to that. No reverse pivot to speak of there. You got a really nice quality hip turn, almost Jack Nicklaus like of a hip turn. I like that. Good thing is, look at that, Joel. Look at that left heel planting back down. You're unwinding. We can see even from here the trail arm is struggling because normally from left arm parallel, you should start to see the trail arm poke underneath the lead arm. So we'll have a look at that on the down line in a minute. The body shifts really nicely. We can see a miss hit here from how the club face deflects. But from the pivot on the front arm angle, solid, in a good spot there. But as we know, doesn't mean we're going to be striking it absolutely perfectly, but it is in a much better spot, much improved. So from the space of time from last lesson, I think that's a very good amount of improvement. That's the hardest thing with this sport, is gauging our improvement when it's ourselves, when we're looking at a golf swing. So even for me, when I'm hitting balls, myself, and I'm improving my own golf swing, even for me as a coach, it's so hard for even myself to gauge improvement because we have that emotional connection to our golf swing, which, as we know, clouds our judgment a little bit on whether we're improving. It's like someone losing a bunch of weight. It's really hard for them to see that improvement when they're looking in the mirror every day. So it's like when we're practicing, when we're maybe having a little look at our swing, which we should be doing when we're practicing, it's hard to see that improvement. So, but absolutely, when someone who hasn't seen you for a while, let's say in the losing weight analogy, and let's say they haven't seen you for a month, for example, they will absolutely see the difference quite substantially. But you yourself looking in the mirror might not see much. Same thing with the golf swing. So, okay, when we dive into this down the line angle, we're going to see a problem straight away, and that is having a little bit more roll than before in that takeaway. So a little bit more of a rolling movement. So you said on camera, kind of like the hit and miss nature of your consistency really at the moment. And this is one big, big reason why. So that's as you're taking that club back, that club face rolls. I'm just going to take you all the way back to set up. So when we're a player who has a rolly takeaway, the only way a player can make that work is if they have a very strong left hand grip. I mean, you've got a very normal neutral grip. So when we have a lot of forearm rotation, so you can see from the front on angle, you can see the glove is pointing the glove logo pretty much just to the left or just to the right, sorry, of the target. And it rolls quickly in the takeaway to it points in front. So that's lots of forearm rotation, which whips the club on the inside and opens the face up. So that's going to need timing to be able to counteract that, especially when it comes to the club face. Because if that club face just remains in that position open, then you're going to have a lot of timing and a lot of inconsistency in the golf swing. So as we're turning up, other than that little roll in the takeaway, your body's moving up quite nicely. And then as we get up to top, ultimately in not a bad spot. You do have a little bit of right arm retraction around you. Left wrist is in a little bit of a cut position because of the roll and the takeaway. And then as you come down, you quickly have a shaft pull down. So you see how that club shaft just pulls dead straight down to the ground there. So when we have the club shaft pulled dead straight down and the hands go directly down, the right arm gets stuck behind the body. So you're not necessarily in a bad spot with the right arm, other than just a little bit of retraction with that right arm at the end of your swing. It just moves a touch more behind you, but it's made worse just by having the arms pull and the hands pull straight down. Again, a lot of players try to do that consciously. Misinterpretation of shallowing. A lot of players think shallowing is getting the arms in the slot. Shallowing is just the center of mass of the golf club pitching this way, which is done via body movement. But, well, body movement mostly. Some players do it manually from other ways. But if we get the arms going dead straight down, pulling the handle down, that gets the right arm, right shoulder moving into internal rotation, which is where the elbow starts to point more behind and it gets stuck behind the body. And those two together get the shaft to actually steepen. So from here, and of course, when the hands and arms pull dead straight down, what's going to happen to the club path? If it goes overly down, it's going to go into out. So this is where absolutely early extension has to happen. Pelvis has to move forward, push the club closer to the ball. Because if the hands pull down too much, they're going to get too close to the body. If you stay in posture, let's say the pelvis goes back, does all the nice, lovely things we want, but you have a pull down movement, you're just going to hit it off the toe every time. So it might describe for you as well why you're hitting some toe shots. It's because when the hands and arms pull down, the club and the hands get closer to the body, which means the strike location gets pulled inwards. And you have to try and kick the pelvis forward to almost push the club towards the golf ball. But of course, when we push the pelvis forward, so pelvis goes forward, upper body goes back. When the upper body goes back from the spine extending, the upper body gets taller. The spine extending is just the body getting taller. And then that can move strike location up and make you thin it a couple times as well. So what we can see here, absolutely forearm rotation in that takeaway. Now, the pull down of the shaft, so really those hands dropping dead straight down, start the takeaway. We know that's, of course, getting that right arm in a spot of bother. It's causing you to have that little early extension movement, causing the strike issues, ultimately causing the ball flight issues that you're experiencing. But when we do that movement, it steepens the shaft, like we said. But steepening the shaft also is a closing mechanism for the club face. Steepening the shaft closes the face. So, okay, like I said, club face is open here. Now it's relatively square, but it's only square because the shaft has steepened in transition. Again, could that be related to each other? It could generally be, absolutely. Could be absolutely your forearm rotation, which is causing the club face to open. We know that your body wants to get that trail arm behind you. It's what it's used to doing. So it's taking advantage of that to get that club face square. That could certainly be the case. So that's where we're going to clean up that takeaway. Just make sure we've got a little bit less of that forearm roll. And we're going to make sure that we're not pulling down on this club. I've got a simple drill to do for you for this as well. So if we can stop the pull down on the shaft and just let that club travel down in the downswing without really trying to do much to it, that's going to help you, especially with our drill. Get the hands and arms a little bit more in front. The right arm's going to start to get more in front of your body, which is what we want. And then you're going to be able to turn through that golf ball in better posture because there's no reason for you to have to come out of posture to manage strike. Okay, so let's have a look at driver. Then we'll get straight to on camera, buddy.